Hey there. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. The conversation that won't go away until it is settled. There's a couple of big chips we're waiting to fall for election 2024. And it's been really frustrating because no chips have really fallen so far in election 2024. We knew who the two candidates were going to be. We knew who the nominees were going to be before the first vote was cast. The whole primary process has just been a mere formality to calcify your pre-existing suspicions. And so now we're at the point to where there's two questions that you and I have been waiting for to be answered this entire time, and they're still not answered. Number one, who is Trump going to pick as his vice president? Because we know it's not going to be Mike Pence. We know he's not even on the short list. He's not even on the long list. And he's not on any list to be VP. The other big one is Joe Biden, is he even going to be the nominee? Well, I thought it was likely that if he was going to be replaced, he would be replaced before the voting started. I thought if he was going to be replaced, he would be replaced in a way that let the Democrat supporters go out and let their voice be heard and be part of the decision-making process. Well, that ship has sailed. They didn't even bother with the primary process. In fact, like in some states, like in Florida, they didn't even vote for president. The Democrat Party just declared him the winner of the primary in Florida. What a mess, but whatever. Hey, it's not like he wasn't going to win anyway. Like I said, it's just a formality here. But that doesn't mean he's not going to be replaced. Joe Rogan thinks he's going to be replaced, and he actually put a timetable on it, so give him some credit. He thinks he's going to get yanked in a month.
May.
I think he's got until May.
No way.
I feel like right around May they're going to pull him.
No way.
Yeah.
And Newsom comes in.
I think he just has health problems, and then the country understands, and Newsom is going to have his support fully, and Kamala is going to I don't want to be president. I'm cool with being vice president.
Yes. Okay. So that's interesting because the health issues are something that were denied. And then at some point, they're just going to admit it. And they're going to turn on a dime, and you're not going to get any apologies for being told you're wrong or mean or picking on an old man or he's totally fine or he's totally together. Don't worry. You're not going to get any of that. But let's do the both sides. Let's do the T chart here, because on one side, they have no concern that he's demented. If they think that he can win the election, they'll push him through, because we know that's what he did in 2020. He was already showing signs of decline in the 2020 election. It was something that came up. It was something that you saw Trump try to exploit when they did do the debate, and he kept talking over him, and he kept trying to push him, and he kept trying to agitate him into going into some little demented anger fit. It didn't work. Well, it's been 4 years of decline since then. Will it work this time? I don't know. But the people around him don't care about that. They don't care that he's been compromised, or at least has the appearance of being compromised by taking in millions from Russia and Ukraine and China. That does not bother them. It doesn't bother them about the $1.7 trillion in debt from last year alone. It doesn't bother that the deficit has continued to go up even after the COVID emergency spending stopped. They don't care about that. They care about whether or not he can win in November. And the polls are changing their mind. Not the dementia, not the fiscal irresponsibility, not the perceived corruption by raking in the millions from Russia and Ukraine and China. Not that. The fact that he could lose. The fact that he's doing poorly with college kids. The fact that he's doing poorly with minorities. Not poorly, just poor compared to what he did in 2020. He's still winning minorities by a sizable margin. But he's gotten declined support in the Muslim community, which could cost him Michigan. The college crowd, while they're not going to turn around and vote for Trump, the lack of enthusiasm could cause this low turnout demographic to be even lower. And they're not going to support him if he's not going to win. They're not going to support him if they know he's going to lose. But James, they already went through the primary process. If they kick him out after everyone votes and install their own candidate, it'll look like they're rigging the nomination process. So the voters don't even get a say so. It's just all about the party. Yeah, duh. Why would they care? They did it before. They did it to Bernie Sanders twice. You remember in 2016, Bernie Sanders won the primary and caucus season. He got more delegates than Hillary Clinton. He got more votes than Hillary Clinton. He won more states than Hillary Clinton. She ended up getting the nomination because at the convention, the superdelegates put her over the top. But don't think that the Democrat Party apparatus, and for that matter, the Republican Party apparatus, don't think that they care more about what the voters think than what they think is best for the party. We already know that they will steal their own nomination process away from their supporters. You saw them do it with your own eyes. And so what does that mean? That means this whole campaign, like in 2016, it's the same thing. All this primary process, this was just a show. The debates, the rallies, the voting, all of that was for show. They're going to put in whoever they like. Voters be damned. And why do they disregard their voters so much? It's like, doesn't make sense for a political party to almost intentionally just snub their nose at the will of their supporters. It doesn't matter. Their voters have been sharpened to hate Trump so much, it doesn't matter. They're not going to vote for Trump. They're going to vote for whoever Team Blue puts out. Period, point blank, end of story. That's why it's so effective to call you a Nazi. That's why it's so effective to call you a racist, a sexist, a bigot, a homophobe. On top of that, they have the abortion issue, which is winning so bad with women, or I should say good if you're on the winning side. But they have one big problem here, and this is still an answer that you and I have not gotten a reasonable response to. And if they do get rid of Biden, who do they replace him with? It is my belief that Michelle Obama would win in a second if she was willing to go through the process. But I'm not sure she is. Now, she said publicly she's not. But you and I both have a hard time believing there's someone out there who doesn't want to be the most powerful person on the planet, which is what you're running for here. I don't know. Are they waiting for something else? Or are they waiting until they do their race war issue or the next migrant caravan or some other war on women, pink hat, Me Too issue? You know, we still have to have that. We still have to have these contrived emergencies that are going to pop up between now and November. But when Joe Rogan comes out and says, hey, I think this is going to happen in May, he sounded a little confident, more confident than most people I've heard talk about this issue. Now, I'm not saying he knows some inside info, but we're running out of windows for this guy to be replaced. I'm about 51% on that he's going to be replaced, but that might have to go back down to 50% because I'm so bad at this to begin with. I just get excited when other people say something and they sound so confident and they've been right about so many things in the past. I just don't know. Who would you replace him with? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, I want to talk about Biden's student loan payoff plan. He's trying to buy some votes. That's next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I have a feeling I'm going to go a little more in depth on this topic tomorrow because I'm bringing in my favorite economist to talk about this on a little more scientific level. But let me go ahead and whet your appetite just a little bit. Joe Biden has tried again for the 1,000th time to forgive student loans as much as possible within his power without having to actually pass anything through Congress, with him just using his dictatorial executive power. And look, I despise this when either party does it. You're not supposed to be allowed to make laws just by the stroke of a pen. That's not how it works. If you can dictate law, that's what a dictator is. You're supposed to, for new bills, they're supposed to go through Congress. You saw the Schoolhouse Rocks. You know how this works. So what he's trying to do now is, through executive order, use some existing programs, change the definition of a couple of terms in it, and do the same thing, accomplish the same thing, spending money, appropriating money from the taxpayers that is to be spent without having to go through Congress. Now, when you say it like that, everyone can agree. That sounds like it's pretty unconstitutional. Power of the purse. All the spending is supposed to go through, originate in the House of Representatives, if you want to get more specific about it. So constitutional stuff aside, let's just see if this is any good. Is on a pragmatic level, is this any good? Is this going to help people in the future afford the cost of college? Is this going to incentivize people to be more frugal about their college choices? Is this going to encourage colleges to lower their tuition or to cut costs or make any kind of cutbacks anywhere? Well, you know what the answer to all of those are. I wouldn't ask, right? But I want to stay at a high level here. I just want to try and hammer down that if you do want this, if you do want the powers that be to go take money from your neighbor and pay off some of your debts and spend it on you. We're taking resources from another person and giving it to you. You're a moocher. That's what you are. You're not. It's not like you're an employee of the government. It's not like you're some person that works at the post office or the DMV who comes in and clocks and you get money from the taxpayer for a service. No, you're asking the government to go take money from someone else and spend it on you. This is the classic concern that was it was mentioned both if you look at the notes of the Constitutional Convention and Alexis de Tocqueville and in the Federalist Papers. This is over and over and over one of the warnings about having a democracy. This is why we wanted to set up a republic instead of a democracy. All democracies fail, and on a pretty tight time scale, usually within 200 to 300 years, when the public finds out, sort of discovers that they can vote themselves goodies from the public trough. That's what this is. You people are on the wrong side of history. You people are the ones that make empires fall. You are the people that destroy countries. You people that want freebies because you're so empathetic and you're so caring, and I'm such a mean person. I got it. So let's go through some of the actual details of the plan bit by bit, and we'll just see on a not such a high level if some of this makes sense. Number one, he is going to expand the existing program for public service.
First, we fixed what was called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which was designed to make sure those in public service, school teachers, police officers, firefighters, social workers, faith leaders, public servants, could get the student loan forgiven in 10 years if they've made their payments for those first 10 years.
Okay, so the problem with that program is it's been in place for a long time, and only 7,000 people have gotten help from it. There's been a lot of people who have signed up for it, and they started it, but they realized, hey, yeah, I could stay in this public service job for 10 years and get my student loan paid off, or I can go ahead and move up the corporate ladder and move up in my career and take some of these other jobs and get it taken care of faster if I just pay for it my damn self, or, advance my career. I'd rather advance my career than stay at this low position in order to get a loan paid off. And a lot of people are making that decision. Whether or not mathematically speaking it works out, it's not really up to you and me. It's the decision they made. So now he's expanded it to where 900,000 people could possibly start getting money from this. So they started out with the program to where the way the rules are written, the way it was passed, the way your representatives read it and voted on it in Congress, came out to where after years of this program being in place, 7,000 people got help. He is now expanding that to 900,000 people getting help from this program. Excuse me, this is the classic slippery slope thing that you're warned about on a regular basis. Where, yeah, we're just going to pass this one thing, and we're not forgiving all student loans. This isn't going to be some rabid handout where we're just throwing money out of a helicopter. No, this is going to be for very strict, select, tiny group of people who are following the rules and doing this public service, and then he just blows it out the water by a factor of more than 100. If you go from 7,000 to 900,000 people receiving money from you, the taxpayer, that's more than 100-fold increase in the size of that program. That is explosive growth in the program. Doesn't stop there. He's also going to try and make some adjustments on minimum payments.
Second, return what's called an income-driven repayment program, which I've renamed the SAVE program, the most affordable repayment plan ever. Before I took office, student borrowers had to pay 10% of their discretionary income on a monthly basis from what they borrowed, 10% discretionary income. That's income after you pay necessities like housing and food. A lot of people didn't have the means to pay 10%. So I was able to, my authority, have the department cut that to 5% for undergraduate loans.
He's such a mush mouth. And that's not the point of this segment. It's just funny that it comes up behind the one where I was talking about Rogan saying he's going to be replaced. So in order to reduce the pain of student debt in America, you're going to allow people to make smaller payments. So if we're making smaller payments going forward than we are today, in 5 years to 10 years from now, is our student debt crisis going to be bigger or smaller than it is now? Is it going to improve, or is it going to push it in the wrong direction? Are you going to pay more interest to the banks if you're making smaller payments or bigger payments? Are you going to pay more overall if you're making smaller payments versus bigger payments? So let me get this straight. You're changing the rules here to where the student, the former student at least, at the end is going to have to pay more money over a longer period of time. The banks are going to make more money and more interest over it. But this is supposed to help with the student debt crisis. I'm skeptical. I'll continue with this. A few more sound bites coming up on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We're going through the latest proposals from the Biden administration on forgiving as much student debt as they possibly can without it having to go through Congress and have representatives vote on it, and without it getting shot down by the courts. Some of his attempts have been mildly successful, and so we're just going through the different aspects of this. So not only can you know that it's bad, but also why it's bad. So we talked about he's going to expand a program that gets more help to forgiveness to people who get public service jobs. He's also going to lower what the minimum payment could be for those who sign up for another program. But he's going a little further than that. If you're poor enough, if you make less than, I think it was $32,000 a year, your minimum payment goes to zero.
And for millions of borrowers who make less than $32,000 a year now after they're out, their monthly student payments will be dropped to zero as long as they're that. Really?
So their monthly payment drops to zero. What happens? Does it still accrue interest? Does it not accrue interest? Are the banks just eating that, or are the taxpayers eating it because we're the backstop? If you got a college degree and you can't get a job that pays $32,000 a year, you got the wrong college degree. You got a degree that probably shouldn't be offered. You got ripped off by the college. Now, if you got ripped off by the college, why are you on the hook for that? And I mean you, not the guy who got ripped off, but you, the taxpayer. Why are you and I on the hook for this? Why is Sean on the hook for this? Why are people who didn't step foot in a classroom on the hook for this? None of this makes sense logically. None of this makes sense economically. None of this makes sense pragmatically. This only makes sense if you're trying to buy votes. This only makes sense from Joe Biden's perspective if you're buying votes. This only makes sense from your perspective if you're the guy that's going to get your loan paid off. But I would like to throw this out here because we have a rule on the James Show. If you're going to propose a government program to fix anything, you first have to admit to me that the previous government programs addressing this interest have failed. Oh, yes. Why would you need another one if these haven't failed? Why would we even debate the merits of your new program? You have to repeal the previously failed government programs before I will even start the debate. Then, and only then, you can start to explain to me how this new government program is so philosophically different than these other government programs that have already failed. And then I still probably won't support your government program. That's just how it works in my world. But if we're still having this problem, let's apply that to this situation. If we're still having the problem that college is wildly unaffordable to the common folk among us, then we have to admit that all these other interventions into the educational space have not worked. All the Pell Grants, all the Stafford loans, public service programs, work grants, teach grants, DACA programs, Dreamers, there's just a parade of government programs aimed at this issue. They have all failed. It's not up for debate anymore. The fact that they are wanting to do this means that they have failed. And if we have learned anything from the failure of this absolute conga line of mutant failed programs, it's that throwing $100 billion at the problem, not only did it not help, it fueled the skyrocketing cost of college. So what are you getting at? What would you do instead? I love that question. Here's what I would do instead. I would bulldoze the Department of Education. I would not leave one brick on top of the other. I wouldn't even sell the money. I wouldn't even sell the building to get the taxpayer return on the money. I would knock the buildings down brick by brick. I would return it to dirt, and then I would throw salt on it so nothing could grow there. And it would be a monument to failed policies, as well-intended as they are. This garbage idea where we take money from you and we throw it at voters, some other voting constituency, that's got to stop. It doesn't work. We'll continue with this tomorrow, though. I have some more sound bites I want to get through, and I'm going to have my economist buddy, Walter Block, on. But this is not going to go away. This is going to be here for at least through the election. Why? Because this is buying votes in a constituency that's pretty mad at him right now. Just like his Gaza plan that I mentioned earlier in the show was to shore up the Muslim votes, especially in Michigan. This plan, he's going to hit it hard and heavy. Not only was it a campaign promise in 2020, he used it. He dangled that carrot in front of the younger demographics to go get their vote. He's going to do that again. He's going to buy off some votes for them. So we've got to get the college crowd, we've got to get the Muslim crowd, and that explains the two big policy changes that you heard today. But we'll go, look, I have a little more detail to throw in on this too, so stick around and come back for the James Show tomorrow. Coming up next, though, it's going to be my buddy Mark Levin, then Chris Crock, and then you'll just leave it right here and start your day with the WBAP morning show in the morning. Also, Dave Matthews Band coming to Dos Equis Pavilion Saturday, June 1st. Tickets are on sale now, livenation.com, or you can head over to WBAP.com. We have the contest page. You can register now for your chance to win a pair of tickets with all the other cool kids to go see the Dave Matthews Band. Thank you very much for hanging out on The James Show. I'm James Parker. This has been News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.